Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm pulling through the energy of 4 sevens. So 7777. That number may resonate with you as I go through the information, the messages that I have been receiving. I'm going to give you an insight into how I pull through messages from my guides. Now, the number 7 itself is a divine number. It symbolizes divine completion. If we look at your Saturn return, that happens at around the age of 28, 29. 28 is 4 times 7. So it is essentially when Saturn comes back into the original place that it was in the sky on the day that you were born. So 4 sevens, 7777. I'm going to get, what do I want to get first? I'm actually going to get a card from this deck first. This is my Lovebirds Tarot deck. The 6 of Wands, which is Jupiter, which is 777 in Leo. We've got the 5 of Wands on the bottom. Okay, now let me get a message, a divine message. Completion. This is perfect. So perfect. Okay, I'm going to get you an angel. Delivers divine blessings against evil. Number 8. Well, we're going to have a look at this one here. Number 40. The Page of Cups, which is the moon in Pisces. So it's a spiritual lesson. Consolation and comfort. Number 40. I'm also going to get you, I'm going to pop this lapis lazuli on top of... Now, 6 of Wands is victory after a long battle. So a journey that you've been on, a spiritual journey that you've been on, I want to say, completion. You've done the full circuit and you're back at 1 to start the next phase of your journey. Consolation and comfort. Let me get you some information on this particular angel because he is the Page of Cups, which is the new phase of your journey. This angel looks over those who love speaking and design and anybody who has an interest in science. This angel will free prisoners, provide consolation and give deliverance from your enemies, and governs printing and books, and is able to influence professors, teachers and artists. Soul guardian for those born from 1 p.m. to 1:20 p.m. Moral guardian for those born the 28th of April, the 9th of July, the 19th of September, the 30th of November, the 10th of February. And the physical guardian for those born the 1st to the 5th of October. Because this is a journey, I'm going to get you a card. Actually, I'm going to get 2. I'm going to split this deck in half. I'm going to get 2 cards from my travel deck. Okay, that's Hampton Gardens in London. Or Hampton Court, not Hampton Gardens. Hampton Court, spiritual court. Have you been in spiritual court? A spiritual battle. And there's a dog barking in the background. One more, please. Just one. There's a little bird in the sky. One more, please. Okay. So that's the mosque in Istanbul. It's either the blue mosque or the pink mosque. I want to say Sophia. Hagia Sophia. Now, before I get into the messages, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. It often comes through in songs that just repeat over and over in my head, and then I'll hear them when I walk into the service station or the petrol station, and then I'll walk into the supermarket and the same song will be playing, and then I'll put my songs on random shuffle and that song will come up again. I have had a particular song and a particular line from a song that has been playing probably for the last 2 months, and I couldn't put my finger on the message that was trying to come through, and it was because the message was developing. So when I receive messages, and if you are on a spiritual journey, I always take note of how other people tap in, because we can all tap in to messages that our higher self, our guides, our angels are giving us. There are messages dotted right through the universe for you. You just have to open your spiritual eyes to see them. Now, the song that I was getting was Angel. And the line that I was getting from the song was, Angel, don't fly too close to me. The next bit, I don't quite know the line. I'm not what you need. People like me break beautiful things, was the line that I was getting. Now, that's a song from the movie Fast X. And when we think about that 28, it's the end of that Saturn cycle, the end of the lessons that you are meant to learn in that first Saturn return in your life. So you have one at 28, 29, you have one at 58, 60, you have one at 84, 85. And then if you're lucky enough, obviously well into your hundreds. But there is a particular big set of lessons that you learn, or that your soul is presented with in that first 28 years of your life. 7, 7, 7, 7, 4 sevens. In that first 28 years of your life, that are specifically prevalent to the next 28 years of your life, meaning that there's links between them. So I was playing around with numbers, and I'm getting lots of themes at the moment because there is this real energy of rebirth. This year is the 999 portal. 9s are endings and beginnings, but 9 is the spiritual number of Mother Mary. So this birthing energy, this Mother Earth, Mother Mary, divine essence energy. So I was looking at the day that I became a mum, which was the 31st of January 2002. The end of me as a single human being and the beginning of caring and nurturing for something else. A huge big change in my life. And there's heaps of tools that you can find on the internet, but basically you can put in a date and I worked out basically 7,777 days from the day that I became a mum. And I was heading into my 28th year. So heading into that last phase of that Saturn cycle. So 7,777 days from the day that I became a mum was May 18th, 2023. And I realized once I did that, because I then go, well, what was happening that day? That day, I completed the cover of my Lovebirds Tarot deck. Because I document everything, I was doing a lot of videos where I was drawing and documenting. I'd posted on Instagram, because I was on Instagram then, I wasn't doing videos on YouTube. The completion of the cover art for the deck, along with the songs God Bless the Broken Road, which is Rascal Flatts, so a journey, completion, The Sound of Silence, and Katawan Doki. Now this Lovebirds Tarot deck actually lies within it is this 7-7 theme. So this 7-7 reference that was coming through, as I said, I put into Google what happened on this day, May 18th, and just picked up anything that came through. These may be messages for you. In showing you how I pull through energy, how I pull through messages, and again, you know, I'm saying to you, that song had been rolling around and I couldn't work out why. It was because at some point in time, further along, probably 4-6 weeks after it had started coming through, I was meant to, and it's for another reading that I'm doing, I was researching about 7777 and looking at big things in my life, big turning points in my life, big changing points in my life, and connecting that 4 sevens in there. I would suggest to you, a big turning point in your life. And then have a look at, use that date calculator, add 7,777 days to it and work out what else was going on in that particular day. Now, that song, Angel, comes from the movie Fast X. Well, X is the end. It's the Alpha and Omega. It's the X is the symbol of the end. So on May 18th of 2023 was the Dial of Destiny premiere for Indiana Jones. It's also in America, it's Armed Forces Day. On the 18th of May 2023 was the 23rd anniversary of the Mount St. Helens volcano eruption. May 18th, 1974, India became a nuclear power. May 18th, 1969, Apollo 10 launched. Now, my dog's name is Apollo. May 18th, 1970 was the beginnings of changes in the law in America for same-gender marriage. And May 18th, 1994, the IDF handed over power and rulership of Gaza to the Palestinian Authority. So there's big things in and around what's happened in history that's actually playing out now. In and around the 7777 number. Now, when you put that 47, I'm just going to say 4 sevens, when you put 7777 into Strong's Concordance, which is basically an index, a chronological index of all the words listed in the Bible. The 7,777th is the word Alpha. It's the first letter of the Greek alphabet, but in Strong's Concordance, it's Christ is the Alpha to indicate he is the beginning and the end. What are we talking about? This Saturn, this journey of Saturn through your life, and whether you're in the first phase of Saturn, in the second phase, the second 28 years of Saturn, the third phase, there are symbolic references to this 7777 number that will align with big things in your life. Now, I put in Angel into Gematria. It's 73, which is 3 sevens, and 234. Now, we've got a 2, we've got 73, which is 7 by 3 is 3 sevens, and then we've got 2 and a 34. So 3 and 4 is 7, and that's 2 sevens. So 3 sevens and 2 sevens. Angel, 73, the words that aligns with is the word candle. In Strong's Concordance, 73 aligns with a battle, a contest, a belt or a girdle. So something that's, Saturn is a teacher. So, you stay in that until you learn and fight in the Olympics. So it's this battle that you've been in to learn the lessons. Now, 234 is Jacob. Now, Jacob in the Bible is 77. Candle, again, Big Ben. So this time clock that you're on. Ibis, and the Ibis in Egyptian symbology is a spiritual awakening. The climb, the Dead Sea, and the emu. In Strong's Concordance, it's offering a memorial and a reminder. I would urge you to have a look at where this 7,777 number actually aligns in your life. Be interesting actually to see what the angel number for 777, given that we've got that song, the angel number for 777 would actually pull through, because it is divine completion. Let's get some cards for the energy that you are in. I just thought it was beautiful though, that for me personally, from a spiritual journey, a massive change in my life, the day that I became a mother aligned with, this particular deck is very precious to me, because it was drawn from a set of teacups that was given to me by my grandmother. And the day that I completed it was 7,777 days later. Unbeknownst to me at the time, it's only that I've gone back, and that's often the way. In life, you get the test and then you learn the lesson, whereas in school you get the lesson and then you get the test. Okay, The energy, look at that. What I was just saying, the Six of Cups, it's the reverse of. You've got to live it. You've got to live it to understand it. The Six of Cups, it's the lesson from the past, but you've almost got to go past it to be able to go back and review it. How beautiful. Now, this is, that's interesting actually. That's so interesting. Because that is, I'm just thinking, that's a Muslim mosque in Turkey. When I was pregnant, I was 5 months pregnant, 6 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant. And I remember being pregnant with my first child, standing in front of the TV, watching the Twin Towers fall. I had no understanding of anybody who was Muslim, or no grievance, no judgment at all. I had never met a Muslim person in my life. But from the moment that those towers fell, my take on Muslim people was formed and molded by what was being given to me on the news. I'm Catholic. My husband's Catholic. My children were baptized Catholic. But a couple of years ago, my first child, so this is this date where I had this massive change, this date from 7,777. My daughter reverted, it's called reversion, not conversion, reverted to Islam. And so my journey, specifically in the last 5 or 6 years, has been a reconditioning of my not preconceived, the external agenda, and almost like a marketing of a particular religion by an external force. And I had to, it's almost a recalibration to step back on my spiritual journey and understand the lessons that were within listening to people outside. How interesting. Completion. In the soul, not in the soul. What's happening for you in the King of Pentacles? Solid, stable. I want to say of your own mind. The decisions that you are making, and again, I'm going to give you an example. When my daughter first came and said that she was converting to Islam, I remember my pregnant self standing in front of the TV, watching the Twin Towers fall and crying, saying, what world am I bringing my child into? It's almost like a fear that was then fed by all the other information that was coming through. Angel, don't fly too close to me. People like me break beautiful things. Are you listening to the angel of fear, or the angel of light, or the angel of love? Interesting. Okay. Now let's look at the soul. Yeah, 23rd anniversary, Mount St. Helens volcano, 2023. When you think about a volcano, it's some big change in your life. You know, having a baby, getting married, getting divorced, stepping away from a toxic family, stepping away from a toxic workplace, changing a group of friends. But it's part of the evolution of your soul. Look at this. I don't know whether that's in the frame. It's part of the evolution of your soul. It's part of what you signed up for. That's the Hierophant. That's the soul contract that you have with God. The message from the man upstairs. The Lovers, the choice. Because what happens is when you get to your Saturn return, it's a time where you reflect back. And we've just had a couple of months where Saturn has actually been in Pisces, which is the Eight of Cups, which is a looking back and deciding on which way you're going to move forward. The Lovers is the choice. It used to be called the choice card. It's Gemini, which is the mind. A reflecting back, like I said, it's underneath the Six of Cups. It's a reflecting back on the journey that you've been on. And maybe you're recognizing, maybe you were the angel of fear. Maybe you had an angel of light on one shoulder and an angel of fear on the other shoulder. And you can now see that maybe that fear, I'm not what you want, I'm not what you need. That fear, you need to drop that angel off that shoulder. The outcome. Okay, so again, I don't know whether that's in the frame, but this came out that way and flicked this way. When it's this way, it's a juggling. Angel of fear, angel of light. You know, you're in the throes of learning the lesson, but it came out and it flicked, which means lesson learned. This reading is about a review, a pause and a review. And I know over the next couple of months, so today's the 2nd of July, over the next couple of months, there's a whole heap of planets that are actually going into retrograde. And when things go into retrograde, it's a time to look back. The Nine of Wands, the wounded healer. To look back and go, okay, that was part of the journey. Okay, let me get the Six of Cups, what you're looking back on. God bless the broken road. How things were knitted together. That's ancestral energy. That's my grandmother's knitting needles. How things were woven together in order for the divine to present you the set of lessons that you signed up for, that your soul signed up for, how it was all woven together, where you go, I get it. I get that now. God bless the broken road. The sound of silence. It happens in the silence. This came out in a previous reading. That's a gravy boat. Sometimes when that card comes out, I think of the lion from Beauty and the Beast, but it wasn't. It looked like a lion. Well, he didn't really kind of, I don't know what he looked like, but Lion, the Beauty and the Beast actually had to go and do the wrong thing in order to learn the lesson, in order to become who he was meant to be. I truly believe that there is a connection. There is a connection between, for me personally, I was meant to be, I could have been anywhere that day, but I was specifically in my home, in my lounge room, with the TV on, watching. I was watching something else and then came to breaking news, watching something else. I was meant to be stood there pregnant with my child in my belly, questioning the whole world and God and everything in between, because at some point further down the track, when I had all of this stuff embedded into me about a certain religion, I was meant to actually break the shackles of it. Now, which is why this has come out. Even this Lovebirds Tarot deck is about walking away from everything that doesn't serve you. This particular is a gravy boat. There's a Paul Kelly song that talks about, well, it's called How to Make Gravy. This guy's in a prison, a pattern of behavior, a fear that you're in that's been woven, and maybe not woven by you, knitted together by ancestral energy. The Hierophant. Purify me. Just set me free. At the offertory. Now, this particular deck is a collection of images of my grandmother's things. At the offertory, Eternal Father, receive an offering, thee in sacrifice, something you've sacrificed, but sacrificed in order to learn a lesson, a choice. Now I've got the Paul Kelly song, Deeper Water. Same guy. Deeper water. It's about swimming out of your depth and knowing that the divine has got you. And I would say this, you know, I mean, when I had my first child, I would never have thought that 20 years later, I would have my own range of tarot and oracle decks and be doing videos on YouTube. Scary as for me to put myself out there like that. Not to put myself out there illustratively, that was fine, but in terms of going into the spiritual essence of the messages that I am receiving, scary, scary, scary. That's that song, Deeper Water. Going out into deeper water. The choice to go out into deeper water. And that's how you get from the beginning to the end. I just heard a boat wasn't made to stay on the shore. It was meant to be sailed out to sea. Again, we're coming back, the beginning and the end. That's the beginning. The knitting needles and the ball of yarn. This is the end. This is completion. And buttons. Now, I did a reading the other day that was pulling through the energy of the curious case of Benjamin Button. And the same in that storyline. He was born a baby intellectually, but he looked like a little old man baby. And he aged in reverse. And he looked like a little boy when he died. Well, he was a baby, actually. He was a baby when he died, but intellectually, he was an old man. It's almost like the reverse. The reverse. Let me just, because the reverse of 4 sevens is 4 L's. Let me just check something. Okay, it's 1:11 on the clock. Okay, so let's do L, 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 L. Now it's taken it down to lowercase. But, sorry, it keeps flicking out of focus. The value of an L is 72, which again is that 2 sevens. So 80 and 288. Okay, so we go 80 is light particles or to wrestle. So when you think about 7-7, it's the wrestle. It's the wrestle that you have with yourself within that 28-year karmic cycle of your Saturn return. What you sacrificed, who you sacrificed, did you sacrifice yourself? What lessons did you learn? Very interesting. Get one of those. Anything else you can tell us about this 7,777 day journey within our soul? Jealousy, I'm akin to everyone, yet face unique trials. And indecision, I tap into my inner gut feeling for everything in life. That one wants to come out. And soul connections, I am drawn to individuals who contribute positively to my personal growth and well-being. And I can attest to that, because the older you get, the more people you kind of cut out of your life. And you do it on a spiritual level. You don't do it on a, to be nasty and I don't need you anymore or whatever. But you actually learn to trust and be guided by yourself, not by the voices externally. And it's really a beautiful thing. Okay, let's get some Scrabble tiles. Anything else that your guides want to tell you about this journey that your soul is on? I'm going to give it a shake. Does make a little bit of noise. If you have hearing sensitivity, just turn your volume down. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we've got a V and a 4, an O and a 1, an S and a 1, an F, and a 4, a Q, and a 10, a Y, and a 4, a B, and a 3, and an I, get you, what do I want to use? Let's use this one. 3 final cards about this soul journey. God bless the broken road. I will list those songs. The devil. The fool. The devil is Saturn. The fool is the fool's journey. The tarot cards are the fool's journey, the journey that you've been on, the truths that you've found. And look, we've gone back to the beginning. The 6 of Wands. Victory after a long battle. The lessons that you've learned in the karmic cycle that you've been in. The Ace of Cups is spiritual freedom. That's beautiful. So beautiful. That's what I've got for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this reading. As I said, I'll list the songs in the description box. Any movies that I mentioned, all of my decks are available to purchase. You can find the links to those as well in the description box. All the best on your journey, and I will see you in another reading.